When will Social Security go broke? Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas, and I've been involved in real estate for well over 30 years. But today I'm going to talk about Social Security. And everybody's worried about that. So the big question always is, when will Social Security go broke? Well, let me start out right away and say, it's not going broke, folks. There's already 60 million people collecting Social Security. There's no way the government's going to let that thing fall apart and not pay people. Now, the politicians want to terrify you, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, always saying it's always going to go broke. Folks, that system is going to be around for a long time. Now, I've been involved in a different business that has to do with the government, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later on, but it's certainly an alternative to the Social Security system. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can answer some of your questions about Social Security. Now, it's a hot potato for all the Congress people. Why? Because no one wants to say that it's going to have to change. Now, why does it have to change? Well, about 80 years ago when the whole thing started, there was at least 16 people contributing for every person that was collecting. Now, has that changed? Yes, it's changed dramatically. As a matter of fact, according to Social Security, the administration, they tell us right now for every person collecting, there's only 3 persons contributing. So only 3 contributors and 1 collecting. That means things have really changed a lot. All right, so if you're going to have confidence in the system, the government has to update it, keep it updated, and be honest and straightforward. I'm not sure that Congress and the politicians are being straightforward. They want to hide it until it becomes a crisis. Well, don't worry about it, because it's a conversation for everybody to have, but the system has to change. I don't know how they're going to change it. Now, I'm not a certified public accountant. I'm not a broker. I'm not an attorney. I'm just an average person that works hard at what I do, and I buy tax defaulted properties. I'm a person that's an author and a publisher and an investor. So that's who this is coming from. So I'm not a public accountant. So the numbers I'm giving you, I'm getting from Social Security Administration. All right. Once that program came into place, a lot of people thought to themselves, well, they have a retirement plan. Folks, it's not a retirement plan. It's a supplement to a retirement plan. But that, I mean, it's meant to keep you from going below the poverty level. So it's going to pay 20 or 25% of what you really need to be in retirement. So if you're a person, if you're spending $10,000 a month to live now, what's it going to take for you to live in a few years when you retire? You need to think about that now. It's probably going to take you 75% of what you're earning right now to survive. All right, you need to think about that. All right, so I'm going to talk to you about a program later that's been around for 200 years, and it's a government program, but I'm going to try to keep you out of the risk business. But right now, let's talk about the Social Security system. All right, now the politicians know that the system needs to change. So I'm going to talk to you about change, and why don't you try to anticipate what you think the change is going to be. I don't know, but I'm going to bring up a few suggestions. I do know that if a system started with 16 people contributing for each person collecting, and now it's 3 people contributing and 1 collecting, I don't think that system's going to last very long. So hopefully the politicians will do what's right. But I don't know that they're going to do that. So let's try to mitigate the risk so we can figure it out. I always worry about the government. What are they doing? Are they making sure that we're taken care of? I'm not so sure that they are. Okay? I think Afghanistan is a perfect example. For anybody that's listened to the news over the past year, they kept us in that war for 20 years. Now think about that, 20 years, trillions of dollars, okay? And what did we end up with? We ended up in a situation that's even worse, and we got a bunch of ragamuffins. Yeah, that's what I call them, ragamuffins, wearing sandals, carrying old Russian rifles and swords, and what kind of people do we end up with? So the worst of the whole thing is, what do they think of women? They think women are second-class citizens. Well, folks, there's going to have to be a lot of change before that country change. And in 20 years of wasting all our money, it tells us how the government works. So you need to start thinking about that. You need to start worrying about it. You need to have to say, what is the government doing? They're going to run the Social Security correctly? I'm not so sure they are. So let me give you a little background. Okay, so in today's episode, I'm answering your question. The question is this: when will Social Security go bankrupt? Well, folks, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to go bankrupt. It's absolutely not going to go bankrupt. First of all, we've got 60 million people collecting right now. According to the Social Security Administration, in 2037, they will have 83 million people collecting. And at that same point in time, we'll only have 2 people contributing to each person that's collecting. The system won't last. Something's got to change. So Social Security isn't going to go broke, but it's going to change. So let's think of what changes might take place. That would probably be a better way for us to think about it. Are they going to change the retirement age from 67 to 70 years old? That's possible. Are they going to maybe cut out the what they call COLA, which is simply cost of living adjustment? Are they going to cut that out? Are they going to change the benefits and make it less? I don't know what they're going to do, but I can tell you it's going to have to change. So they're not going to wait until the last minute, but the politicians will let it go, and they'll keep their head in the sand until they can get everybody terrified, and then everybody will say, whew, are we getting the best? No. We're getting lousy government, and then we're going to have a lousy Social Security system. All right, so this thing all started in about 1936, been around for about 80 years. There was a lot of workers putting money in, but that's all changed. And how else has it changed? Well, everybody got older, all right? So now they don't die at 65. So now they're living to 75 and 85. So that means more people taking money out. All right, what about people coming in? Well, they don't have as many coming in. So now we've got a crisis on our hands. How are we going to handle that? We're either going to have to change the benefits by cutting them, or we're going to have to extend the age. We're going to have to do something, because you're not going to be able to walk away from 60 or in a few years, 80 million people. It's not going to happen. So the benefits might have to be less. Maybe there has to be more people contributing. You can't just say, let's have the young people pay for it all. They're not going to be happy about that. And the rich people, are we just going to tax them so they don't have any money to invest and grow the country? Well, folks, if we only get 2 contributors and 1 person collecting, we got a problem on our hands. All right, now, I don't make the rules, but I read and I understand in 2037 there's going to be a crisis. Personally, I won't be here. However, a lot of you will be here, and you need to start thinking about some alternative investing so that you can cover yourself. Okay, the market's changing, the people are changing, the Social Security system's going to have it. So what's the biggest problem? Well, people have stopped having babies. So that means you've got less people coming in. People are living longer. Okay, they might be healthier, but they're living longer, so they want more checks. So somehow we're going to have to figure out, how are we going to adapt to that? Well, I'm not going to wait for the Social Security system. It was only meant to give us a supplement in the first place. So it's time to think about what you're going to do. So what are you going to do if they lower the benefits? What are you going to do if they increase the age? What are you going to do if they take out the cost of living? I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to do something along those lines. Now, today, according to Social Security, 10,000 new people join the system every day. In other words, the baby boomers are here. Yes, that group that was born between 1946 and 1964, that group is all reaching retirement age. And guess what? They're all applying at the rate of 10,000 people every single day qualify for Social Security. Well, is this system getting overburdened? Well, I can tell you, people contribute in that system every day. Everyone that's working has to contribute. How much do they contribute? Well, the average employee has to put in 6% of what they earn every single payday. And on top of that, the employer has to add to that another 6%. So 12% of all the wages is going towards Social Security every day. According to the Social Security Administration, that's $2 billion a day. So $2 billion a day going out, but they need more. So don't wait until it's a tornado. Don't wait till it's a hurricane. Don't wait until it's a big crisis. You need to do something now to think about what you're going to do in the future. It's only meant to be a supplement. It's not going to do what you might think it's going to do. It's not going to give you all the money that you need. It's a supplement. It's a small part of what your retirement is going to be. So I don't know what you're going to do, but if we're already contributing 12% of all wages, they might have to change all that. What if they do change that? Well, the $2 billion that's going every day is going to have to be more, because we get 10,000 new people coming into the system every day. So the key dates to look for are 2037. Why? Because that's when it reaches a crisis. All right, the politicians know everything that I'm telling you. It's all written down by the Social Security. They know that. They have actuaries tell you about it. So you can learn everything you need to learn. But I think what you need to learn more than anything is what changes are going to take place. What's going to happen in your life? There won't be less people, I can assure you. There's never going to be less. Imagine 83 million people in 2037 collecting Social Security. Okay, well, if you're going to be one of them, you better have something supplement going on. So what do? Well, I change everything I do. I change it to make sure that I'm going to be able to take care of myself in the future. So what did I do? Well, I learned about another business. I learned about a business that was going to be able to take care of me. So will Social Security survive? Yeah, it's going to survive. It's not going to survive the way you think it is today. So the thing to do is start thinking about solutions. Think about something that you can do. Now, what did I do? Well, 30 years ago when I discovered tax liens and deeds, what did I do? So I think I'm going to learn this business. Why? Because there was huge margins. I could buy a property for 20 cents on the dollar. I could sell it for 80 cents on the dollar. Wow, that was a big margin. All right, I don't have to do that too many times every year. Or if I wanted, I could get even lesser property, pay less. I could get ones that I pay more. But I knew that there was going to be 5,000 auctions every single year. So in those 5,000 auctions, guess what I can do? I can buy those properties for pennies and I can resell them. All right, the point is, I have many videos on this channel that will tell you exactly how to do that. My conclusion was, I'm not waiting for Social Security, and you better not wait for it either, because what's going to happen? If you don't take care of yourself, I can assure you the government isn't going to take care of you either. They didn't take care of the people that you see them walking away from. So you need to use your brain and start thinking about other things to do. All right, the system I looked at had been around for 200 years, so I assumed that it would be around for another 200, and actually it is going to be around. All right, so if you can read and write, you can learn how to do the business that I do. What is it all about? It's all about tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. Anybody can do it. I have lots of videos on this channel about that, and I have a couple of words of advice. If you do get involved in that business, well, first of all, you can go right below me, and there'll be a free gift that will tell you even more about it. But whatever you do, don't buy anything that you haven't seen. And if you do attend some auctions, don't buy anything that you already don't know your exit strategy and sell it. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you in the next video.